Chinese New Year. It was not the plan originally, yeah. So those people who advised us believe that this is good to release during Chinese New Year because they said that kebanyakan Chinese film during Chinese New Year is not this kind of genre. So we decided to teach it very, very stiff. But we hope we will do fairly okay or a good fair share of the market of the audience all over Malaysia. In terms of strategy, we've got our team that is social media that's speaking to the Malay audience and also to the Chinese audience. So they're working hard on that. It has reached, but I do not know how far because I'm fearful to monitor, to be honest. But they've been feeding me saying that their responses are fairly alright, very very good. So we are based on that. Hence why people said, all these people, young advisors say that during Chinese New Year is when most Chinese, if your target audience is purely Chinese, this is when they come out and watch Chinese films. And that I know for sure because years after years after years, that's what we watch film during Chinese New Year. Memang betul, you keluar and watch the film, right? But we also want other races, which is Malay, Indian, and yang lain-lain. So based on that, it's also a long break. So we hope with that, people will come out and watch it. And our film is apparently, I do not know how far it's true, but I was told that our film is not the same genre as others. So, inshallah, it will be alright. Nervous, without a doubt, okay, but we just have to go through and listen to the advice who knows better than us. Yeah.
Baik, ada penambahan sedikit, silakan.
Okay. Yeah, definitely nervous. We are up against so many, but one of the reasons we follow the advice to release in Chinese New Year because, as you know, the film has traveled to 2 China states, which is Fuzhou and Xiamen, and we've got good responses from them, young audience and elderly audience. We were in India, surprisingly in Goa, and we also got very good response. And we are also good response in Los Angeles and Medan and also in Vancouver, Asia. Therefore, we realized that while the film speaks in Cantonese English, the story resonates to all Asian. Therefore, we are hoping that Malaysians in general, all races, will watch, not just the Chinese. So that's the hope, because like we said, it's a Malaysian-made film for Malaysians. So hopefully it works.
One more question. She asked about the Cantonese.
Cantonese.
Yeah.
Ya, betul.
Yeah. Why did you do Cantonese? Okay, I love working with all of them. That's the honest truth. And this is not just a body line, yeah. We had a good time. But I realized kita dah losing the dialect, the usage of dialect in Malaysia. As far as I remember, I love Hokkien and Cantonese very much. Okay, I like the sound of it. And I grew up listening to Cantonese films masa dulu kat TV and all that, right? Empat Sekawan and so on and so forth. So, hence why I thought it's a good idea to use Cantonese. Again, orang kata is going against the arus of the river lah, where everyone else is going Mandarin, so I go with Cantonese. Besides them, which they were my choice of actors and actress, but it's also that, not forgetting dialect. Yeah.
Mona, I have another question. Sorry. Sorry guys, siapa yang nak tanya tunggu dulu ya.
Boleh.
Okay, my second question, actually I have 2 questions. Kenapa Taiping of all places? I know the title of this movie is written down. You chose the tempat dulu ke ataupun macam mana, or the title first? Secondly, when you write the script, right? Not the screenplay, I know that. So do you write and also tailor-made the main characters, especially father, mother, for Shiwa and also Susan and Kester, or how?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, why Taipei? Simply because I was told by a photographer, that time was, it was during Redha, when Redha was released. And it was, I was being interviewed and things like that. One particular photographer, which unfortunately I cannot remember her name, she's the one who mentioned to me about rain betting. So I find it very interesting. Then I start Googling and finding out and all that. Then I found out it was all happening in Taipei. Okay? She told me about Taipei, about rain betting at Taipei and all that. I didn't know at that time, that was in 2016, I didn't even know that Taipei is known as Rain Town until I went slightly deeper to find out about this rain betting. Then when I found out it's also known as Rain Town, hence why I find it very interesting. I just wanted, why I chose Rain Town, simply because I was telling Haris, kalau katalah this film goes out for festival ke apa ke, insyaAllah. At that time I didn't know, right? And I said that at least I don't have to think of two titles. Macam Redha, I had to have Redha and I have Beautiful Pain. Two titles, very confusing, and you have extra money to print posters and all that. All this is just too much money. Filmmakers mana ada duit kan? Kita ni is like, struggling artists. So, so that's why it was known as Rain Town. And then the question number 2 was what again?
Sama ada title
about
dulu ke? Yes.
Okay, about doing the script. Yes, the beat of the story was worked together with my scriptwriter, but the writers actually wrote the whole thing. In terms of characters ni, masa kita bercakap tu, I didn't have Susan or Kinua yet. It was just a story. And that's when I start, while doing the script together with my writers, that's when my team actually had to, my producer, my personal producer actually had to cari all this pelakon and all that. So we had a few, and after having the Zoom chat and audition and all that, so of course they are here today.
Ya, sebentar, saya bagi peluang kat Dennis sekejap Okay, silakan Dennis.
Congrats to the cast and crew, to Pomona, to Haris, to
Thank you so much.
to Pauline, Wilson, and Fabian. Yeah, remember you guys. I just love the cinematography around Taipei, but I do notice something that some of these hill scenes and the clouds around the hills were they all taken in Taipei, or did you actually use some
No.
hills from other parts of Malaysia?
No.
Because I do notice that some of these hills may not be from Taipei, because
No.
I'm quite a study of hills.
No, every single thing that you see in Taipei in this, shots in this film is 100% Taipei. The running clouds time lapse shot that was shot on a high building, the highest building in Taipei. It was a mall that's attached to a hotel. It's a hotel. Yeah. So we shot there. So every single thing. There's no stock footage, if that we're saying, that was used from another side of wherever. 100% Rain Town.
The quarry is definitely not Taipei.
The quarry. There's no quarry.
As a second brother, Alex is driving home. He passes the.
Oh yeah, that one coming back. Yeah.
You mean?
I mean on the way.
Oh, Wilson. Okay, that is that is the Jalan, the B road. That's a B road to go to Taipei. Yeah, but the signage existed there. We didn't put prop. Yeah, as organic as we can be.
Baik,
Alright.
itulah penjelasannya.
Okay, we have
Senampaknya
next
kat sana.
question.
Hi, I'm Norman here from Nikkei. Thank you so much for having me here, and congratulations. This is very well known. I think how many times I said to my friend, I said, that looks like my dad, exactly like my dad. So Uncle Chi, you did a good job depicting like my dad. So the nuances of the characters were well done, and I like also how the second son syndrome is always the forgotten son, but eventually came out as number one. And the trophy son becomes a letdown. But eventually, I thought Auntie Eileen passed away. I was like, hey, she came back. So there's a bit of plot twist. But the thing is, one of the things I would like to ask is that how the idea of how it inspired you to come out with these kind of stories, because it tells very well nuance about a typical Cina family that I think a lot of people don't understand, traditions, and also a lot of the old school ways. The feng shui was well done. It was quite well on point also. Luckily tak kau bakar all the azimat and all that. Belum lagi. Bakar azimat, minum air azimat, that one lagi tepat. That happens. So the inspiration, the part of developing the characters is one of them. And also the second question I'd like to come about. Last year, we have accolades of Malaysian films doing very well. So I must say, Rain Tan kick-started the year with a bang. Congratulations with that.
Thank you so much.
But I want to ask also, will Rain Town be screened in places like Taiwan and Hong Kong? Just to go further with that. And also, the next part is that what's next for Watu Kupona?
Okay. I can answer about whether it will go out of Malaysia. We hope so. Okay. I can't say yes at the moment. We do have talks with some people, but nothing has been agreed or signed whatsoever. Therefore, I can't say yes. There's discussion, but it stays there at this point in time. And then, sorry, what's the other one? The earlier one? The character. Okay. Whether it was, also sorry, character, but what?
The inspiration of how you
okay,
do the
okay.
character and the storyline that brings all this five in the family. I also have the five in the family. So that, I was thinking, how on earth do you manage to capture that so well? It depicts like my family. So that resonates very well. Personal experience, is it?
No, okay. That's the beautiful thing about what you have with all these people here. Okay? No, honestly, we all had the same goal. We still do today. Okay? The script was written by a Malay dude, a Malay chap, and a Malay writer. and of course, we have some inputs here and there. It is, when we wrote it, when Azrael wrote it, it's not just about Chinese family. Okay, the culture and all that, of course, we make sure there's Chinese touches here and there. But this is actually a story that it doesn't matter who, Chinese, Malay, Indian, whatever, like I said, we was screened in India, North Indian and South Indian audience. The hall was bigger than this. I had a 99% full capacity. And when it was screening, I was so worried because this is India. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they could, in my thinking that they may not be so receptive towards Chinese Malaysian film, maybe Hong Kong or but this is Malaysian Chinese, but they felt it. They said they could resonate. They said this is happening in my family or my uncle's family. There's always that kind of statement. So when we did the character, it's basically, it is a make-believe character in that film. But it's also, when I spoke to my writer, I thought, okay, you know what, this is something I have seen before or I have heard before, and we start exchanging. So that's how the characters were developed in that sense, in the script. It was never like based on someone. It's always like, I hear this is what happened, and then we know we have this chat, long chat before we start doing our beats. Then it becomes a script. All the issues that you see are the issues that not only you or it's all others too, that people could relate, like when you are controlled, a character that is so, like Isaac's character, he is so obedient, so to speak, to the parent. to the father especially, and he burst somewhere else. He used the drugs as a way to to get back to the family, for him too, because he cannot handle it. And this is something that when I went to the rehab center, and I wanted to know whether, is this legit? Is this possible? A husband to do things like that? And the answer is yes. In fact, when I went there to have a chat, and they told me, we've got 2 specialists who's going through the rehabilitation because of whatever reasons, And I also checked with the university, and same thing. So it is a make-believe, in a sense, but it's not based on true story. But the facts that we exchange and we hear are something that's happening day to day, and hence why, And what's my next one? Well, let's see how far Ringtown goes.
Right， 我们记者朋友或者是各位来宾还有问题吗？还有，OK， 这边。
Hi, I'm Terry from Sinju Daily, but I have a few questions for the cast, and I'm sorry that I need to ask in Chinese.
Can. That's why we have Chinese host, don't worry. Mandarin speaking host. Can go.
So 就 for 周耀華大哥啦，咁入邊嘅角色咧，
我 Mandarin，
我好耐冇做大哥咗。
咁喺角色入邊就可能比較固執少少啦。咁你自己嘅個性係咪都係咁固執嘅咧？定係其實比較隨和嘅？咁第二個問題咧就係 for Fabian and Wilson， 因為入邊就是裡面就是可能你們就是有一個很激昂的那個吵架戲嘛，那是不是很大的挑戰？尤其 Fabian 其實你有2場跟媽媽也是吵得很厲害。然後第3個 question 是給 Pauline 的，因為最後就是你Henry 就是有出來，就是演你的那個男朋友嘛，那這個人選是不是你特別推薦給導演，還是說特別的安排
？Okay, mungkin saya boleh explain sikit.
Ini bahasa Cantonese, saya cuma tahu leher pintu bahasa Cantonese saya tak tahu.
Jangan bercanda kat sini. Okay, silakan.
Saya akan translate.
Terima kasih.
Dia tanya,
kau kena bagi gaji dah tau kat Kinwah.
Kau ni mirip ke dengan karakter Mr. Chu tu in real life? Tapi of course saya akan cakap tak lah, tapi saya tak tahu. Mungkin orang lain lihat saya, dia kata, ini mirip lu. Jadi kena nanti korang nak tanyalah. Apa PM tepi lah kan? Kita jangan buang masa, kita tanya anak-anak saya dulu ya. Terima kasih.
Bapa. Okey, untuk anak-anak ada tadi dengar Filem Wilson punya nama kena petik ni. Ada nak kena pukul kat luar ke apa ke cerita dia? Okay,
yeah. So I was asked about the intense scene that I fight with brother and also fight with my mother.
So you pukul Susan betul kat luar?
No.
Saja. I memang gaduh pagi I batu api. Okay, silakan.
The challenge is I think more about first of all I think it's really lucky because it's a very collaborative process. It's not hard for me to get to where I want to get because Susan is always there, Kak Mona is always there, Wilson is always there. So we have a long chat about how to go about it. Because he's very stubborn, he doesn't want to come, right? But I think the challenge for me is more of the stamina because we need to do ticks after ticks and ticks after ticks and
one tick je. Kinwah cakap Kinwah one tick je.
Yeah. And also like maybe some of the take I messed up a little bit. I fumbled through the lines. We have to do it again. And and that's my part. And I'll pass to Wilson.
Okay, silakan Wilson.
Actually, that scene we had prepared a few months before we rehearsal, and actually I remember the scene we have actually just take like few takes only, right? And we got another extreme version, but the one I really love it, but cannot show in the screen lah. Yeah, you know the one. The, talking in the car, yeah. That scene I really love, but we cannot use that thing.
Terima kasih kerana bagi tahu kat semua. Lepas ni semua orang minta.
But yeah, for me it's quite challenging because the emotion in the car is quite huge with the brother argue scene. But luckily we have met the director lah. He give a lot of input and can make the character more lively. So yeah, thank you so much for Kamona for helping all the time. And Fabian's always doing the good. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoy the scene lah.
Baik, saya rasa Susan ada nak tambah ke? Oh, boleh. Okey, silakan boleh.
Okay,
Mama cakap, you kena cakap.
Okay. Question I got was the final part where my boyfriend appeared, right, Melvin. For those who do not know, he's actually my real life husband.
Yeah, mana dia?
Yes, and then 1 year later, I'm pregnant. Yeah. So this film was filmed 2022, right?
22.
Yeah. So now there's a baby due on the way. Question that I got was it specially arranged for my husband to cameo in the film?
Yeah.
It wasn't actually. Yeah, it wasn't specially arranged, and it just we had another cast for the character, which. Go on, I said she wanted to die because of the cast. Okay, so just so happened when we were filming in Taipei, my husband drove me down to Taipei, and 2 days later, then he says like, okay, yeah, sure. I don't know if you all laughed during the scene, but I went for I think 2 screenings or 3 screenings, and the thing that I realized is every time he appears, everybody laughs. I don't understand why. I'm like, do they know he's my husband? That's why they laughed, or is it because of his middle parting hair? So I'm like, yeah, maybe you tell me later. Oh, tunggu muna. Can Melvin pasa.
Lepas ke untuk husband ke untuk you? You memang jadi manager Biasa isteri jadi manager, suami terus.
Okay, you see, I didn't know they were married masa casting, okay, and even masa script reading, shooting semua. So when I saw Henley, and then someone said to me, I said, I've seen him in a bigger role lah. Ni is a small role. Is he willing to do it? Because I've seen him in Adrian Tay's film. And mine is really tiny. So the moment Pauline kata, yeah, he's willing to do it, I said, oh, Masya Allah, Alhamdulillah.
Burst budget.
Bukan. No, I mean, it was a relief. Sebab saya nak mencari karakter yang I had so many casting session going on masa tu, dan saya ada seorang, tetapi saya tak happy sangat. Jangan tanya siapa dia. Okay, I'm not gonna say who. But when I had him, and I was so relieved. So yes, thank you so much.
Wow.
Okay, siapa nak tambah? Ada yang nak maki, nak marah ke nak apa ni?
Tapi yang benar, yang jujur ya,
Yang
itu scene yang masa saya sentuh pundak dia, I touch his shoulders. That is my favorite scene. Because that is the scene where it ties up to the assistant.
Baik, Susan. Nampaknya ada something yang ingin dikongsi.
Okay, so bila saya tanya Pauline, how come Henley is Melvin? Me. She calls me me. They all call me me now. Buy one get one free mah.
Jawapan yang tepat sebenarnya.
Yes.
Baik. Kita ada 2 dia. Okay, last question. Kita bagi dekat dulu. Kita dengar dua-dua soalan sebelum kita tutup. Silakan.
Soalan pendek je. I think one to Susan and also one to Fabian. To Susan, I think one of the most poignant shot was the mother-daughter shot. And I think getting into that emotions, it's not easy. We've seen you in the movies back in the old days, but come to today, you still shine.
Wow. Dapat ampau.
And really, that character chemistry between yourself and Pauline I think two of you really worked well. That scene hit me hard. And also to Fabian, coming from a background as a nurse myself, I'm a trained nurse. The depictions of the medical ward and everything, well done. But for Fabian, I've seen you in a few movies, including Hungry Ghost Diner, and taking on a lot more jobs. There's a lot of improvement. I think also kudos to you. I think this, one of the most, I think for you, my question is that what's the hardest thing, the biggest challenge for you breaking into a different kind of character? For Susan, it's particular on that scene. How do you get into the mood with getting Polly? What were you crying in the scene? Do you cry, continue crying after that? How do you get into that scene?
Baik, Susan, rahsia you dengan Pauline, tapi sebenarnya muka ada iras.
Kan? Casting bagus.
Saya rasa macam nak terima award dah tadi. Okay, teruskan. Apa boleh kongsi macam mana scene tu menjadi?
It was 3 o'clock in the morning, right? We shot that 3 o'clock in the morning. It's supposed to be 3 o'clock in the morning, but I felt it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. We set the scene. It was night. It was actually at day, during the day, and the crew are amazing. I tell you, the team that we had, they set it up. Our art department, that house was empty. Rumah tu kosong, tahu tak? And they filled it up with everything, including photographs of my mom and me on the walls and everything. It was amazing to walk in because my family's from Perak, from Ipoh, and I could imagine going into my popo's house, exactly the same. Anyway, going back to your question. So I had to get into that mindset that I'm already dying, right? But I use my mooncake as therapy, which is normal. A person who loves what they do, they would use that as a positive form of therapy just to get their mind out of the rut that they're in. And her relationship with Ruby is that she's always passing on her hobbies and stuff, and she wants Ruby to succeed. To get into that particular scene, I think even when we were just reading it, script reading in Current Pictures office, we were always already tearing up, masa tu. We already keluar air mata, but when it came to the set, even Mona, everybody was like, diam aja. Mona said, you girls okay? You ready? It's like, okay, just get into the mood, get in the mood. So it's very mental. And I think for us, we were feeding off each other so much, whether we were in front of each other or even when she walks into the room, I can sense her. You know, I'm not looking, but I can feel her. And we were just vibing each other and using the dialogue to drive our emotions, at the same time using our emotions to drive our dialogue, if you understand what I mean. And the tears came naturally because it's a beautiful scene. It's shot beautifully, it's written beautifully. It's actually not difficult for someone who understands their work. And this is where I feel that as a performer, we need to do our homework. We need to study our scripts, do our rehearsals, remember our lines, and then when you're on set, forget about everything and allow what you've learned and studied to just take over. And that's what you saw.
Yep, kita tepuk untuk itu persembahan baiklah. Fabian?
Sorry, can I ask you to repeat your question again? Sorry.
Soalan dia tadi, you ada pengalaman nurse kan? Betul.
Yeah, I mean, I watched you perform in other films as well. So it's not easy. I know one of the question I asked earlier was, what was the most challenging part for you in this film, aside from that fighting scene that you almost killed your brother, but the part where the depiction of being an addict, I think that was really well done. But getting into the character of being an addict is definitely not easy. I think we've seen you in a funny guy in a Hungry Ghost Diner, and then to this character. And what is the hardest thing that you find in this acting in this film for you, or the most challenging one in this film?
Yeah, because this character is a bit on the depressive side. His voice not heard, like from the beginning of the film, and there's a suppression going on, and there's an escape to use drug. I think the most challenging thing is for me to just try to be in the mood throughout the shoot, and it kind of affect your mental state a bit lah, because you are like, it's almost like your waking hour. You are thinking about drugs, you are thinking about escape, you are thinking about very depressing thing, and yeah, that's for me is very challenging. Yeah.
Baik, kita ada soalan yang terakhir daripada Dinesh, kemudian kita akan tutup sidang media untuk 1 to 1. Okey,
This one is for Mr. Chew and Wilson. I loved your first performance together in Kongsi Raya some years ago. I think that was fantastic. So that was your first one and this is your second one? And did it kind of like the earlier collaboration help get you guys to know each other better and work better together?
I think it's the industry is very small. So we are bound, especially my age, and maybe because Wilson's age, and maybe other actors' age. I think I'll be probably playing father for the rest of my life. Gangster maybe, and Wilson can play my younger brother, maybe. So yes, you could say it helped, and I think I really knew that he's on board during one of the premieres. I think it was here, and I actually told him, "Hey, you play my son, ah?" Then
okay. Yeah, actually, I remember that how I can involve in this movie. Kamona have told me because of Kinwa introduced me to Kamona. So I really great. I have met my father before, so yeah, that's really good. Thanks, Lodao. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, anything?
it's I think it's a mutual thing lah.
Anak ayam, last question. Sorry, I have a last question. Since Mr. Chew Kinwa is so popular in Indonesia, so filem ni akan dibawa ke Indonesia tak?
Itu kena tanya producer dia.
Producer?
Kinwa kata dia nak bawa ke Indonesia, tapi itulah masih menunggu lagi ni. Kita tunggu je ya.
Baiklah, Penerbit, sorry.
To answer to your question, we are in talks because dia keluar dekat Medan punya festival. Therefore, there are people that were interested, but we are still studying lah macam mana dia punya proposal dulu.
Baik, kita ucapkan jutaan terima kasih tepukan untuk penerbit pengarah dan juga bintang-bintang filem. Kami mohon kepada semua untuk berdiri, jangan bergerak lagi, kerana kita akan angkat kerusi di belakang anda, kemudian kita akan bergambar bersama-sama.